Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Sporting Max, where today we're joined by Adelaide 36ers co-captain Brendan Teys. Welcome to the podcast, Brendan. How are you going at the moment?
Yeah, I'm going good. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Can you tell me a bit about your childhood and what growing up was like for you?
What growing up was like for me, geez. So I grew up in Brisbane. Growing up, I started playing soccer when I was probably 6 years old. Played a lot of soccer. Then I got into basketball at the same time my brother did. So my brother's 10 years older than me, and he started playing basketball, I think, in grade 12, maybe grade 11 or 12.
Yeah.
And I was 10 years younger, so I was 7 or 8, around that mark. And he started playing basketball. So then I started playing basketball, and we'd shoot around in the backyard and stuff like that. Because I was playing a whole lot of soccer and a whole lot of basketball, I ended up having to choose. So when I got to about 12 years old, my mum would have to drive me from, a basketball game in the morning to a soccer carnival all day, back to a basketball game up on the Sunshine Coast, a 2-hour drive away in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And by the end of Saturdays, we're knackered. And then it's the same for training. You have to take me from soccer training at Monday at 4 p.m. and then straight to basketball training at 6 p.m. So it was just getting a little bit too much. So about 12 years old, I had to choose whether I wanted to play basketball or soccer. And because I'm so pasty, my skin's so pasty, and I didn't want to get too sunburned. I ended up choosing basketball. I also didn't like wearing little soccer shorts. I like wearing baggier shorts. So ended up choosing soccer. But that's just a bit about my story. Grew up with my mum and dad in Brisbane, had my older brother, and my younger sister is 2 years younger than me. So we just kind of all grew up together up there in Brisbane.
So what was that like to, shoot around in your backyard with your brother, who's 10 years older than you?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, we used to grow up playing a lot of sports, ping pong, soccer, tennis. We invented some crazy sports. But yeah, when my brother puts his mind to something, he's very passionate about it. And that's what I've grown up to be too. So we would get in the backyard and we'd practice and shoot and learn new things. And we'd also play a lot of video games. We'd play a lot of NBA Live back then. And he wouldn't let me kind of just come down the court and shoot it. I was, like what I said, 8 years old. He wouldn't let me come down the court and shoot in video games. He's like, no, we have to run through the offense properly, and you have to come off this screen and shoot it here. And if you don't shoot it, that's a bad shot, and I won't give you the ball the next time down the court. So, we just hung out like that a lot. But yeah, shooting shots in the backyard. We're pretty blessed to have a hoop in the backyard and just go out there and shoot whenever we want. So, that was a lot of fun.
Now, I believe you played junior basketball with the Southwest Metro Pirates in the Queensland Basketball League. What type of player were you as a kid, and how was your sort of game or style developed or evolved, over the years?
Look, when I started my junior team, so I'll go to my first under 12s team. So we went to the state championships. We had a superstar team. So it was me, Brock Modem. I don't know if you know Brock Modem, he played for the Adelaide 36ers probably when you were very young.
Heard of him.
Cameron Bairstow. I'm sure you know Cameron Bairstow, who plays for the Hawks right now. We had a guy called Daniel Vito, who used to play NRL, used to play rugby league for Brisbane Broncos and the St. George Illawarra Dragons, Canberra Raiders, and he's now a professional wrestler. So we had 4 guys who went on to be elite athletes in the same under 12s team. So we kind of dominated the under 12 scene. We had great coaches, great junior coaches that I'm sure all those guys that I named were all pretty blessed that we had such good junior coaches. And I remember we went to state championships and our closest game was the semi-final that we won by 20 or 30. We just absolutely dominated that league, that competition. And then throughout my junior years, it was a lot of the same. So that group kind of hung together for a while. And then under 16s, we kind of spread apart, but I was still on some pretty successful teams. I ended up winning 3 state championships, so 1 under 12 championship, 1 under 16, 1 under 18. And growing up, I was always one of the best players in my age group, always one of the top scorers. So that's something that I really prided myself on. And then, I guess you get to the NBL level and not everyone can be a top scorer, so you have to try to develop in other areas. And I tried to work a lot on my defense, and then try to run the team a lot more. So because I was thankful that my brother taught me how to play basketball properly, and we played those video games where I had to use screens to kind of score, I kind of learned the game a lot better than a lot of people. So as I've progressed, I guess my IQ is a lot higher than a lot of other people. My basketball IQ is a lot higher than other people, and I'm able to help them and get guys the shots where they should be getting shots, or run the right offenses to get this guy a shot when he's feeling good and stuff like that. So I think on top of, my scoring ability, going through juniors, I really developed my defensive game and my basketball IQ.
In 2008, you signed with your hometown, the Brisbane Bullets, as a development player, but the team unfortunately folded before the season had even started. How did signing with Brisbane all start to come about?
What was that?
How did signing with Brisbane all start to come about?
Are you talking about how they're back in the league?
Yeah, in the NBL.
You're saying when Brisbane came back, or when I started playing there?
When you started playing there as a development
When I started
player.
playing there? Yeah, so that was I was lucky that at the time Joey Wright was the head coach of the Brisbane Bullets, and I was playing QBL, which is like the NBL 1 now.
Yep.
I was playing NBL 1 at the time, and I was little 18-year-old, little scrawny, skinny 18-year-old, and I was playing NBL 1, and we were playing Brisbane Capitals at Auckland Flower Stadium, and I remember having like a really good game. Like I had 24 or 26 points or something like that, like mid-20s. Had a really good game. And after the game, I didn't know at the time, but Joey was sitting in the crowd, and he just came down to the court after the game and said, "Hey, I was here. I've been following you. Would you like to be a development player for the Bullets?" So that was super exciting for me. I obviously, as a kid, I went to a bunch of Bullets games, and I was a member at the Bullets as a little kid, sitting in row 4. And, at that time, CJ Bruton was playing for the team, and he was like an idol for me, someone who I always looked up to, and I always went to the games, and I was like, wow, like I want to be CJ Bruton, even though he had like the cool afro and all the baggy shorts and stuff like that. But I was like, I want to be CJ Bruton when I grow up. And then obviously got offered the development spot, and I knew that CJ was on the team, and I was like, oh my God, this is great. And I was fortunate enough to be able to go to a few scrimmages and a few little training sessions here and there with all those guys who are on the team. They were all there, and then like you said, unfortunately the Bullets folded, and that season didn't eventuate.
So what was that like to sign with a team and then the Bullets just folded and didn't eventuate?
Well, like I said, it was a very exciting time for me because I finally, started playing professionally, I guess, with my idols, and then that team kind of folded, and I didn't sign with anyone else that season. So like I said before, I was just a skinny little 18-year-old, and I used that kind of time off during that NBL season that I was supposed to be a development player in. Didn't go to another team, but I used that 6 or 7 months during that season to lift a lot of weights and try to put on a bit of size and a bit of muscle and turn into a man instead of just a scrawny little kid. So you can kind of look at it 2 sides. You can kind of say, well, I missed out on my shot to become a professional basketballer, or you can use it as a positive and try to work on something else, try to work on your deficiencies. And that's what I just tried to do. Just went down to the courts and worked out every day, and then went to the gym and worked out every day trying to get bigger.
So you then went to the Gold Coast Blaze with your former Bullets coach, Joey Wright, where you played 3 seasons there. What was that experience like to play under an amazing coach like Joey Wright, who we've had on the podcast, by the way, and really get to know him and play under him for a couple of seasons?
Yeah, I mean, he taught me a lot growing up. He pretty much developed me from being a scrawny little 18-year-old to becoming a professional basketballer, and he put in a lot of time and a lot of effort into my individual game, and he would get there early with me and stay after practice late, and we'd work on different things for hours and hours and hours until I finally got it down. So a lot of credit goes to him for the career that I've had. But not only him, I had a bunch of great, older guys in that team. They weren't older at the time, but they were older than me.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of guys to learn from, such as Adam Gibson, Anthony Petrie, two of my all-time favorite teammates. Chris Golding was in that team. James Harvey was in that team. Perry Cameron was in that team, who was, all-star 5 at the World Championships next to Dirk Nowitzki and all these guys, Manu Ginobili, all these guys. So had some incredible people to learn from, and took that opportunity to learn from them. And I guess that helped me develop my basketball IQ as well, playing with such great players, and they're all really smart players too. So that kind of helped pave the way for me. It was just a perfect storm to kind of boost my career. Unfortunately, that first season, I probably played 30 seconds or a minute the whole season. I think I played in 2 games.
Yeah.
So hardly played, but I wasn't expecting to play. I was like a kid in a candy shop. Like, oh my God, this is crazy. What's going on? And then the second and third year, I guess is a story of just being in the right place at the right time. So one of our guys got injured, and I got elevated into the roster, and then played a few minutes here and there, and did really well, contributed really well, and then played a little bit more, and eventually played, a bunch of games up there on the Gold Coast and contributed. And I think in the last season, Perth in the semi-final series, and we lost in game 3, but I was playing 10 minutes a game as a 20-year-old development player. So that was pretty special for me. And but yeah, just going back to, Joey and Gibbo and Peach and Bubbles and all those, and Chris Golding and all those guys who helped teach me and instill good habits into me. A lot of credit goes to those guys.
So what was that like at the Blaze to work with the young Chris Golding?
He was young at the time too. So
Yeah.
he's I think 2 years older than me, but it was just great he'd been in the league for a few years already. And it was just great to see his talent, but not only his talent, but his work ethic. I prided myself on being the first one to practice and being the last one to leave, but he was always the first one there, last one to leave. I'd see pictures on people's Instagrams of him going in at midnight at night to go shoot before a game or the day after a game and stuff like that. So just his work ethic was incredible, but you could see at the time that he was going to be something special, because you put that much talent mixed with that much hard work together, and you're always going to be successful. So it's credit for him. Credit to him just putting in all that hard work, and he's obviously seen the rewards throughout his career.
Now the Blaze folded after the 2011-2012 NBL season. Tell me about your mindset after now having played for 2 clubs, which have unfortunately folded.
Well, like I said, that third year after playing the Wildcats in the semi-final series, and I was playing 10 minutes a game and contributing pretty well. I was like, okay, well, finally I'm going to be elevated into a full-time contract, not just development player, but like a full-time contract. I was like, here we go. Like, the stars are starting to align. I'm going to finally get my shot. And then we heard the news that the Blaze folded. So that was a bit of a bummer, because I thought that was the year that I was going to finally get a job, but that didn't happen. And then I moved on up to Townsville. I got a development player spot in Townsville. I'm sure you probably had that in your notes and you're going to say that next, but went up to Townsville, and the same thing happened up there. I played 30 seconds or a minute the whole game. I think I got on for a minute in one game. And up there was a lot like the year that the Bullets folded. Up there, I just spent a lot of time, same thing, getting there early, staying late, doing extra weights, going hard in the gym, shooting on days off, all that kind of stuff. Just doing a whole bunch of extra work to try and make myself as good as possible. And it was probably my first time away from home as well. So I was lucky that my wife's cousin lived up there, and I moved in with her, and she kind of looked after me, because it was my first time away from home and had to move away from my then girlfriend, who was my wife now. And so I was pretty sad, but like I said, I just put my head down and put in extra work, and worked as hard as I could. I actually had a job up there as well. So I worked at the movies, at the cinemas, at Reading Cinemas up there. So I'd go from training, and mind you, like this is Townsville, so it was hot and muggy. So we would train in the morning, lift weights. I would go home exhausted, and then I'd have a shift at the movies from 4 p.m. till midnight.
Oh no!
Where I'm walking up and down stairs all day, like cleaning up popcorn, cleaning up cardboard boxes. So if you ever go to the movies, put your popcorn boxes in the bins provided, because I know what it's like having to clean up all the popcorn boxes. But especially school holidays when it's all the kids' movies on. Oh my God, having to clean up all those popcorn boxes and popcorn everywhere. But I just remember like cramping, and I was like sweating the whole night, and it was just a mess. But I did what I had to do, and I was still in a situation where I could improve. But yeah, that was just my mindset, I guess, going up there.
In 2013-14, you were back with Joey Wright, but now at the Adelaide 36ers, obviously. Talk to me about how signing with the 36ers, all happened.
Well, like you said, Joey got the job done in Adelaide. And I guess it was just another story of being at the right place at the right time. So back then, instead of a salary cap, they had a points cap, and each team had a certain number of points, and it was something like imports with 10 points. If you played at the Olympics, you were 10 points. If you were coming back from college, you were 3 points. If you were a nobody, coming through the system or whatever, you're a 1 point, etc., etc. And Adelaide only had 2 points left, I think, and one spot. So they needed a 1 point player, and luckily enough, I was a 1 point player. And Joy just gave me a call and said, "Hey, we want you down Adelaide. Would you come down?" I said, "Absolutely." So that's kind of how that all came about.
Now, in November 2014, you scored a career-high 23 points against the Breakers. What was this game like for yourself?
At the time, I think we had a couple of injuries. I think, I don't know who it was, but I remember we had a couple of injuries. So I knew I was going to be playing a lot. And yeah, I guess just my mindset was to be super aggressive, and all my teammates and Joey kind of put that confidence into me to go out there and be aggressive, because, hey, we got so many injuries. Someone's got to go out there and try to score. So why not you? And so I did, and went out there and started feeling good and made a few shots, and yeah, had a good night, I guess.
Ahead of the 2017-18 NBL season, you were named as the 36ers co-captain for the upcoming season. Oh, sorry, not co-captain, captain. What did this all mean to you?
It was very special. When I was younger, I used to be the captain of all my junior teams and all my Queensland state teams and stuff like that. So it's something that I don't take for granted, and something that's really special for me to be able to be a captain of a professional basketball team and follow the likes of all the great captains that have played for Adelaide beforehand. When you have a look at all their names etched in the history books, I guess, you kind of take a moment and you think that's pretty special. And it's kind of nice to have, not control, but have people look up to you and come to you for advice and listen to your opinion and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, being a captain in basketball is just a title. It's not, we get to talk to the referees before the game, and it's not like cricket where we're kind of calling all the shots and everything, but it is very nice to kind of be etched in history as a captain of such a prestigious club.
In the 2019-20 season, you were named the Adelaide 36ers Defensive Player of the Year. What is your mindset right now on defending, and how did this recognition make you feel?
Awesome. So this is going way back to my Gold Coast Blaze days. Like I said, I learned from guys like Adam Gibson and Anthony Petrie, and these guys were very defensive orientated players, very defensive minded players. And because I learned from them, I learned to be a defensive minded player. And I ended up getting my first shot at the Gold Coast to play on the court because of my good defense. So I took a lot of pride in that. And I knew that I probably can't score as good as the best, like can't score as good as Jerome Randall or Chris Golding or Bryce Cotton, but I know I can play defense as good as them, if not better. So I was like, okay, well, maybe if I pride myself on my defense, that'll be my point of difference, and then I can, do everything else as well. So I really took pride in my defense, and to be recognized for that with the Defensive Player of the Year award that year was very special, because it's something that I really work towards and I really care about down the defensive end. And funny story from my Gold Coast Blaze days is when I was a development player and I didn't play the whole game, and we're playing against New Zealand Breakers.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm playing against my idol, CJ Bruden. And at the time they won like 3 championships in a row or whatever. CJ's known as the best clutch player in the league. And there's like 20 seconds left, and it was a tied ball game. And I hadn't played the whole game, like I said. And Joey subbed me in for the last 20 seconds to guard CJ Bruden, the best clutch player in the league.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, there's CJ Bruden, Kirk Penny, like all these guys. And I was like, oh my God. And anyway, we got the stop. I just remember CJ, we walked onto the court and I walked up to CJ like little 19-year-old. Like, and I remember him looking at me like, okay, like I've got the score on you. And we ended up getting the stop. I don't remember what happened, but we ended up getting the stop and went to overtime. And I didn't play all of overtime. I only played that 20 seconds. So, it's just a funny little story. But yeah, going back to it, winning that Defensive Player of the Year award was really special because it's something that I do pride myself on.
Now for 20 NBL 21 this season, you're co-captain alongside Daniel Johnson and Daniel Dillon. What's it like to be in a leadership role with those sort of caliber players?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's just the same as when I was first named captain a few years ago. I just kind of stepped into that leadership role, and I've been around for a little bit now, so I know how to play the game, and I know how other players should be playing the game, and I know I've seen a bunch of different personalities. We went to the grand final that year, and we had ex-NBA players. We had, most improved players. We had 6th man of the year. We had all these guys in different personalities that are different personalities, but they have to mesh together to be able to win. You can't just have the best players from everywhere and put them together and hope they win. They've got to mesh together and work together as a team to eventually win. And I learned a lot that year trying to keep this guy happy and stop this guy from fighting with this guy, and hope that guy's okay because he's not playing, and hope that guy's okay because he is playing. Like, I just kind of learned how to do all that stuff, and I guess I pride myself on being a good person, so I'm able to go up to people and give them advice or give them constructive criticism or make sure they're okay and stuff like that. So it is a true honor to be in the leadership group with those guys, but it's the same thing that I've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years of my career, is just helping people and trying to be a good person, I guess.
Now, we've all heard and now seen the NBA prospect and NBL next star, Josh Giddy. What's it like for you to come in, day out, and work with him and play alongside him?
I first saw that we signed him, and I was like, oh, sweet. Like, this guy's not going to play. There's no way this 18-year-old kid can come in and do anything on an NBL court with men. But the first session he was there, he blew my mind. I was like, wow, this guy's really as tall as they say for starters.
Yeah.
Like, he's massive. He's legit 6'7", 6'8". So first of all, I was like, God damn. And then second of all, his instincts are so good. He just makes the right instinctually. Like, he'll pass to the big when the big's there. He'll pass to the weak side when the weak side's there. He'll come off an on ball and shoot it when he's open. Like, he just makes the right plays all of the time, which is pretty amazing for an 18-year-old, because when I was 18, the game was happening so fast, and it's hard to kind of read the game like that. It kind of develops as you play more. But for him to come in and make the right plays already is amazing. And there's some things that he needs to work on, but I truly believe that he will get drafted and he'll do well in the NBA.
So how do you think this sort of NBL 21 season is going to sort of play out for the club with the NBL Cup coming up in February?
Who knows? Hopefully there is an NBL Cup. Hopefully there is the rest of the season. I think we just got to try to avoid COVID, and with the NBL protocols, they're being pretty strict with us, so we're not allowed to basically leave the house for 3 days before each game, because if we get a cold, even not if we catch COVID, but if I rock up to a game with a sniffly nose, they have to say no game. So we've got to be pretty careful and wear face masks around and stuff like that. So first of all, hopefully there will be a rest of the season. Hopefully we get through and we get to play all our games. And then secondly, it's going to be interesting, especially for us, having a bunch of home games early and so close together. And then at the back end of the season, we're probably going to be traveling a lot and playing a lot of away games. So I think it's important for us to win a bunch of these home games while we have them, to win a bunch of the games in the hub, and then hopefully try to pick off a few away games through the back end of the season. But history will show that every season's been pretty close and pretty tight. And if you lose a game here, you might drop from 3rd to 9th. Or if you win a game here, you might drop from 8th to 2nd place. So as long as we can stay ahead of that curve and stay in that semi-final spot, anything can happen from the semi-finals.
Now, your new head coach for this season, Connor Henry, seems to be doing a great job with the guys. Can you tell me about what sort of coach he is and what kind of expectations he has for his players?
He's been good so far. Like I said, it's a little bit different having him around, but I think the guys have responded to having him here, and he has a very he's a bit of a player's coach where he, it's like an open door policy. No one's afraid to kind of tell him how they're feeling or what they think, and he's very open to hearing from us players and responding to us and working with us to kind of make a cohesive group. And what's working, what's not working, he's very, very willing to kind of work with the playing group and get suggestions from us, and us get suggestions from him. We kind of work to formulate a game plan and a style of play to be able to win games. So it's been good having him here, and I think the guys are learning a lot from him. And unfortunately, because of the COVID situation, our imports came in late, and a few of the guys from Melbourne had to come in pretty late as well. So we're all still kind of learning as we're going, which makes everything tough. But I think at one point we'll click, and we'll be pretty successful this season.
Now, imports Tony Crocker and Donald Sloan have only just played, obviously the first few games with the club. What's that been like to have them around and in your club culture?
It's been good. They're both great people, first and foremost. Tony's a bit of a jokester, a bit of a hooligan, which is refreshing to have around. You can always have a laugh with him. Donald's been around the place. He's played in the NBA, so he brings a lot of professionalism and knows how to play the game of basketball. And Tony's no different. He's been playing high level in Europe for years and years. So both these guys know what they're doing. And for them to be able to come in with, a week to go before the season and try to gel into the group and learn the system and learn the plays and learn how players like to play and how guys want to get the ball and stuff like that. It's a true credit to their professionalism. But yeah, first and foremost, they're great people, and I think they're only going to improve with having more and more time around the group.
Now, you're the founder of online basketball training Hooper. Where did you sort of get the inspirational idea from for that? Or how did you come up with that idea?
Good question. So I wanted to find a way. So I've always done like a lot of small group training and individual work with a lot of kids, and taught them how to play the game of basketball and taught them this and that. And I get a lot of enjoyment out of that and teaching kids how to play the game and helping them improve. And I wanted to kind of find a way that I could do that without being physically present. So with the COVID situation, like I said, we pretty much can't leave the house for 3 days before a game. And I knew that was going to happen. So I was like, okay, well, how am I going to help kids improve if I can't actually be there and help them improve? So I thought of this idea of releasing weekly training videos on YouTube. And it's they're simple videos. They're literally like, this is the 3 ways to score by doing this, or this is the 3 ways that you can, you know, the 4 steps to make your shot better, or something like that. You know, like it's a bunch of videos like that. And at the end of the day, and very soon, I think next week, I'm going to be starting to release courses that people can buy. And these courses are going to be different things. So there's going to be one on fundamentals. So it'll kind of be for younger kids, and I'll teach them how to dribble, how to pass, how to shoot, the rules of the game and stuff like that. And there'll also be one on screening. So I had a look at stats of the NBA, and all of the elite scorers have these things in common. And one of them is they score a lot of points by screens. So off-ball screens, coming off on-ball screens, setting screens and rolling off screens and stuff like that. So the course that I'm hopefully going to be releasing soon, hopefully as early as next week, is going to be a screens masterclass. But yeah, the whole idea is just to reach as many kids as possible, teach them the game of basketball, help them improve without actually physically being there in front of them, having to, you know, spend time doing that when I've got a limited amount of time right now.
So what's your weekly schedule like in terms of, you know, hooper, training for the 36ers and games?
Yeah, well, like I said, we're pretty much training every day, lifting weights every day. Right now I've got 2 games a week. When I can, I go down and film usually 4 videos. Like I'll spend one day filming 4 videos. So that gives me a month of videos. So I only have to film once a month, one day a month. And Fuel My Social is a social media company, social media agency down here who's helping me do a lot of that stuff. So it's been a blessing to have them on board, because they're making some really good content for me. But yeah, basically I just set up a time with them once a week to go film a bunch of videos, and then I release them weekly, and then I'll go down the next month and spend a day filming a bunch of videos and then release them weekly. But I'm just trying to fit that in when I can right now, around all of that COVID protocols pretty much.
What would be your best advice to anyone trying to make their way into the NBL and have a successful career like yourself?
First and foremost, I had fun, and I know it's cliche, and my dad always used to say it to me, but just have fun. I think if you enjoy the game of basketball, you want to get better at it. If you go down to the courts and get up shots because you have to, and okay, I'm going to improve by going to the court and shooting shots, compared to jumping out there and being like, all right, let's go. Like, I want to go down and shoot, and I want to get better. It's fun. That's a true, I think that's the true way of getting better, is enjoy. If you're not enjoying it, then it's probably not for you, because there's a lot of hard work. But if that hard work is fun, then it's a lot easier.
All right. Thanks, Brendan, for coming on the podcast and sharing insights into your life and daily life and your career so far.
No worries. It's been fun. Thanks for having me.
No worries, Brendan. Best of luck for NBL 21 and the rest of your NBL career.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Stay tuned, everyone, for some more Sporting Max.